Hello everyone. We have a game with the white pieces against Miasmi, rated 1282. Let's develop a piece and attack the center. Now we get a Ruy Lopez on the board as we play bishop b5 and we go down our speedrun. We pressure the knight, he attacks the bishop. We don't want to trade it, the strong piece for the knight for no reason. So let's retreat it one and keep the pressure. If he attacks us again, we retreat by force. But instead he develops his bishop and eyes the f2 pawn. I'm just going to castle, get my king to safety. He develops his knight and attacks our pawn. If you take this, he'll take back, and if you take this, he'll take this probably, would be my guess. If you play rook e1, he'll probably go here for the Frad liver type stuff. Let's just play d3. Just keep it simple. Now our pawn is protected. We are threatening to win his pawn next, and he ignores us. 1300 but ignores us. Will it matter in the end? Let's find out. We take the knight, which defends the pawn, and then we take the pawn in the center, and we are up a pawn. He retreats his bishop and attacks our knight. We have a number of options. You can defend the knight, you can retreat the knight, it's up to you. I'm just deciding. I'm going to retreat the knight in a way that hits the bishop, but you can totally put it back where it came from, f4, bishop f4, things like that you can look at. But right now I'm going to counter the bishop. I'll take it if he lets me. It's probably one of his better pieces, if not his best. Otherwise he has to move it again, which would be annoying because I'm up a pawn and he got nothing out of it, a worse pawn structure, and then we have our win condition and we can just trade. So if he's 1300 but he made it super easy. He goes in towards our king, he comes with a threat. When I take the bishop he'll replace it with the queen and threaten checkmate in one. I think I'm just going to take it anyway. I'm just going to take the bishop anyway. Because I want... Wait, he doesn't even take with the queen. So there's no point to this knight move at all. Now I could just kick it. And even though I want to go f4, I might as well just throw in f3 to kick the knight back. I can go f4 right after that, or I can develop a piece, either way. Okay, so he's threatening checkmate in one, but hanging the knight in the process. So this makes no sense. He'll take back with one tempo, but I move my queen to the side, and what was the point of all this? Because the bishop and the queen don't coordinate. So this was super weird. This guy he's kind of overrated, so go find him in the pool and take advantage of his elo. Free points. So now he hangs his queen like, yeah, this is not 1300 play at all. This is absurd. Joined 8 months ago. I guess he just gave up mentally. He doesn't care anymore, so that's why. He's attacking our rook, so let's take free stuff. He's hitting our pawn. I don't care. I'm just going to develop a knight. It happens to hit a piece, which he hangs, so now we're up 15 points of material. We're going to play another game after this. He hits our queen. We take it. And he resigns. Next game. We play d6 against e4. We're playing Super Knot, rated 1196. So we develop our knight and hit his pawn. I would play the Philidor, but this is a pure speedrun. So we go g6, bishop g7. He develops the bishop and pressures our knight. We develop and defend. Easy peasy. He goes here, protecting, developing, normal stuff. We could just castle. And this is the starting position. We can play from here. It's up to you. c5, e5. He goes bishop d3. Because he did that, I'm going to do neither of those moves. I'm going to play knight to c6, developing my knight, pressuring this, and looking at knight b4. So he just castles. Safe and sound, he's not worried about a thing. But now that I have pressure on this pawn, that's what's making me decide to put my bishop here and pin the knight, which is defending the pawn. You see, he auto moves at a 1200 rating, which means we get to win the game for free. Because he auto moves, he loses the central pawn, and that's all we need to win a game. So you should not auto move. So he goes queen back, even though this pawn is protected by the bishop, so it wasn't fully necessary. Now would be a good time to play a move like c5, solidify the knight, open the queen, gain space, control the center, up our pawn. You know, we're good to go. So he moves his bishop. Okay, but it can't really do much by itself. Also, we do plan on expanding on the queen side, so that bishop will get hit, I feel like, at some point. And you could do that with a6, b5. You can also go rook b8. What else is there? You could throw an h6, but I'm not sure I want to. So yeah, let's expand on the queen side. a6 or rook b8. Let's go a6. Just control it with a pawn so he can't put a piece there. Now he goes a4, trying to stop us. So boom, boom, boom. Now rook b8 makes more sense because we need to prepare it further. So we need to make both moves anyway once a4 hits the board. And now he just goes and looks at the center. He gave up on his plan. He could have maybe gone a5 so he can en-passant. But here, push, takes. Yeah, I can push here, so let's go b5. Now we're hitting the bishop with tempo. He has an open a file, but there's nothing to hit there. Infiltration shouldn't do too much damage, really. If any, none. His bishop's currently hit. I could continue hitting the knight, which undefends the pawn, but wait, what? He took the pawn. I'm going to take the free piece because it's defended backwards. What? And now he just gave me a piece for no reason? That's crazy. Doesn't even make sense. There's no, like, and then follows up with c3. Maybe he didn't see it and he's trying to minimize the losses or something. Maybe. In any case, now I'm willing to hit this bishop for free. Why now? Because before, when it could go to bishop e3, it would threaten to hit the knight and win a pawn. Here, the knight's not there. So I want to get in this free move because he has no good counter move. And if he takes, I'll gladly accept the only dark square bishop. And now we're just up a free piece, so super knot is going down. Queen c2, developing, connecting the rooks, looking at the center. Fine. Our knight doesn't really want to be here. And we can't just wait for him to take because he shouldn't. So let's reroute it the only way we can, through here. And maybe we can push d5 since the knight doesn't really have many squares to go to from here. I mean, it could go here. Doubling your pawns doesn't matter. But you also have d5 supported, but then he can push past and hit your bishop. There's probably no need for any of that. We're up a piece. Let's hop our knight here. If he wants to take, I'll gladly have the only minor piece on the board and open my rook. So he doesn't take. He moves his rook to b1 and now to d1. I don't think he really knows what he wants to do. But I guess we can't sit and wait forever, right? Have to break in the center at some point. I don't really want to though. I guess I could try to play on the A file, but there's nothing really there. You should probably just go e6 and d5 and just push in the center. So where do we want our knight? It doesn't have any jumps that I really like. So let's develop the queen, threaten a pawn, see what he does. I don't have any squares I like for the knight, so just leave it there. I like it where it is, kinda, so. And I can't really force the trade in this position. I mean, maybe I could go for some rook trades since, you know, just there's lots of ways to go about this, but I'm just trying to think of a simple way where you don't have to know anything or think or have excellent strategy or something like that, or excellent positional play. So he defends the pawn. He's going back and forth. That's fine. Maybe we can play around with the A file since it's open. We'll just see what he does. I'm kind of making random moves here on the queen side because I have infinite time to do what I want. Anything he does that's aggressive, like pushing the pawns or taking, is only going to help me, so he shouldn't do anything, right? He should let me just move around infinitely, but let's see what he does. He hits the rook, which I was planning on lifting up anyway. Right now I don't have any real squares for it though, so let's just lift it up one. Now that his bishop's here, I can reroute my knight with tempo because any trade's good for me. So if I go here and he wants to avoid the trade, or here for that matter, and he wants to avoid the trade and he goes somewhere, then I can use another turn to reroute my knight. So he just cements his bishop in here, which gives it zero mobility and weakens the dark square. So it's a terrible positional move. I want you guys to see that this was strong, preventing my pieces, and this is super weak, just asking me to jump in for free. So I'm going to do that. And so what I'm doing is I'm hitting the queen, improving my knight, and vacating the e6 square so I can hit the bishop. The bishop has nowhere backwards to run to, and all the forward squares are covered. So that's going to lose a piece. That's another reason why it's not just awful positionally, but tactically as well. He's going for this pawn, but I'm going to win a bishop, so I don't care. And if he does take this pawn, we also at some point have bishop g7, just kicking it away with tempo. So he desperados for a pawn, trying to get as much as he can. You could take with e because this rook provides extra lateral defense, but I'm just going to take with the knight. Yes, it's super strong in the middle, but I'll just put it back there and my king pawn structure will be intact. I want this pawn on f7 supporting g6 point. I like it like that. My bishop can come back once he takes, no problem. He doesn't even take, he offers a rook trade. This pawn is hanging, a lot of stuff is hanging, so I'm just going to take the rook because it's forcing. Then I'm going to take this pawn because it's free, double attack, queen and rook, so he doesn't have time to take a pawn. And if we force the queen trade, we're just up 6 points of material, 2 minor pieces. So super knot is going down. What did he just do? He took a pawn, which hangs a rook with check, so that doesn't make sense. Then his king has to go here, so bishop e2, royal fork. We get the queen, and mate will follow shortly. How do we get the mate? GG, he writes, and he resigns. Analysis board. So we play the peers. You know the setup, you know the drill. Bishop goes in the hole, and we castle, and we're ready to play from here. So now, depending on what white does will depend on what we do, depends on what white will do. So he develops his bishop, which kind of signals me that I have this knight development move, which is kind of nice. Development and center. Development and center. I'm threatening to win a pawn. Free stuff because it wins a pawn. Minus 1.5. Okay. We just improve. And now the idea is queenside expansion up our pawn. He prevents us. We support it and develop, kinda. He doesn't do anything to stop us. We push it through. It's still minus 1.5. So we're up a pawn with a slightly better position is what that means. He takes, force move, we're hitting the bishop. So now he could just play a worse position by moving the bishop back, which is what I expected. But he stacks a piece, and it goes straight from minus 1.5 or whatever to minus 4, so just completely losing. So now we just improve for free. Force move. And now, what is the engine like? I wasn't expecting it to say knight c7 was absolute best, but it does say that. Although it says the top 4 moves are all minus 3.8 or minus 3.7, so equally good, I guess. Now it's changing, yeah. So e6, building up in the center, like I mentioned. Bishop back, king up, I mean, the only moves that really make sense is d6 and knight c7 because they have real purposes behind them, human purpose. I mean, the other moves are improving moves, but they're not the same. Anyway, okay, so we move the knight back, rerouting a piece that has no future. And yeah, here I should have gone for just e65 because I realized that after I put my knight on the square, I'm like, well, I should probably go for that plan anyway. But I put my knight here, which is totally fine, you know, still minus 3.5, crushing. But yeah, it makes more sense to go the other way. Develop a piece for free, minus 4. And now you could do whatever you want. This is where I said I'm going to make some random moves because we have infinite time. Because no aggressive action from him will be good. So he should sit and wait and just sit on the position and see if I can make progress. And try to stop anything that I do. So I go here. And then he goes here, which isn't necessarily the worst move because it's whatever. It's a tempo move. We lift our rook. The really bad move is when he cements it in and he ruins his own mobility. That was the bad move. Yeah. Now it's minus 5.3. We hop in for free, attack the queen, pick up the piece. And you definitely could take back either way, but I just preferred the knight. We're up 2 minor pieces, exactly minus 6. Everything checks out. Trades are good for us, so we throw them in. We win free material, forcing the queen trade, but he blunders the rook and mate. So with 4 inaccuracies in a 30-move game, we end up with 95%. Good enough. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Good luck in your chess. Goodbye.